Happy Tuesday. Now, before I go any further, last week I hopped on here and you all let me talk for 5 minutes and 18 seconds with no mic on. So I had to double check my mic is on. Let me make sure that I'm pulling up on Facebook, all the things before I get too far into it. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, they couldn't hear me or they couldn't see me. All right. So as you all are hopping on, just keep in mind I can see the people on Facebook as you're hopping on. I cannot see you folks over on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, especially, please drop down in the comments, say good morning, say hello. If you are catching this on the replay, put hashtag replay because I will go back through the comments and I will say hey. If you said hey, if you asked a question, I'll answer the question to the best of my ability. So, again, if you're on LinkedIn, I can't see you on this screen, only if I pull you up on my phone, but make sure that you say hello so I know that you're here. Whoever this is here on Facebook, drop down the comments, say hello. I'm going to make sure that you guys can actually hear me, and I'm going to share it to my personal Facebook page as well because you all know everybody doesn't like to do the right thing and go ahead and follow this page. So I got to share it on my personal page too. But yeah, as you're hopping on, say hey, let me know where you're from if we haven't formally met yet. Um, and LinkedIn, I can see on my phone some of you guys are hopping on. Make sure you drop down the comments, say what's up too. All right, so I can hear myself. A little bit of lag. I can see Miss Dorothy Smith. So Miss Dorothy Smith says, hi, Miss Timalyn from Memphis. So I'm pretty sure you're from Memphis, Tennessee, but just to clarify, because I didn't know till I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, that there is a Memphis, Indiana. So Miss Dorothy, you are from Memphis, Tennessee, right? All right, let me check on my folks over here on LinkedIn real quick. All right, LinkedIn can hear me because if I'm saying your name wrong, let me know. Pavin says, hi, Timlin. So, hi, good morning to you all, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're at in the world right now. Miss Dorothy says, correct. Yeah, we don't play with that Memphis, Indiana, right? So, thank you for joining me today. If we have not formally met before, you have no idea who I am with this hat on and usually glasses. You all say a prayer, I can't find my glasses. My name is Timalyn Bowens, and I'm America's favorite EA. And as an enrolled agent, I am authorized by the IRS to represent taxpayers before them. All right. So that means in all 50 states, if there is a taxpayer that has an IRS issue, I'm able to step into their shoes and handle that with the IRS. But if they're a US taxpayer and they're not even in the country, I can still handle that too. I currently have somebody I'm working with in um, Baghdad. I have somebody in Italy that we're just about wrapped up with. So, any US taxpayer, I can help you as an enrolled agent. I specialize in representation. So, typically, people that owe the IRS $100,000 or more, or if they're actively being audited or levied. So that means the IRS is all up in their bank account, right? So this video today, though, is actually for my tax pro friends. All right. So it was pretty cool. Last night on YouTube, somebody, a fellow EA, who I'm assuming she didn't pass too long ago, was just saying like how she wanted more experience and how these type of conversations are helpful. And I hope she joins us here today live. But then on LinkedIn, even I had a message this morning that was like, hey, thank you so much for doing these lives. So my whole ultimate goal is, and if you are not new to me, you hear me say it all the time, to fill the tax literacy gap, right? But I also believe in mentorship and I believe in paying it forward. So if there are mistakes that I made that you don't have to make, then I believe in helping you avoid those mistakes. All right. So in today's video, I'm talking to enrolled agents, people pursuing the EA exam because I myself am an EA. We're not the only people that can do representation, right? CPAs can do it, tax attorneys can do it, but and they're welcome to tune in. So if you're either or, you can tune in. But EAs, that's my heart, right? Because that's what I am. So today I want to talk to you all about one of two mistakes that all EAs make after they pass the exam. And I didn't even put this event up till late last night, and I've already got flack about it because I said all EAs. And yes, I did not stutter. All EAs make one of these two mistakes. Typically, not both, not at the same time anyway, because they go from one extreme to the other. So today, as I'm sharing those with you, please, if you're an EA, feel free to drop in one of I wouldn't say biggest. What is a mistake that you made when you first passed the EA exam? And this will help our folks out because I got folks on LinkedIn I can see that are interested in taking the EA exam, but they haven't actually taken it yet. All right. So if you're willing to, in the comments, share a mistake that you have made as an EA when you were a newer EA that you can laugh about now. Right? So I will go first. So this was pre-COVID because I've been at EA, got a little weight under my belt now. So this was around the time I first passed the exam. And for those of you that know, if you call the IRS, like there is no telling how long you're going to be on hold, right? Well, I had already faxed my power of attorney to the CAF unit, and this is pre-COVID. So it wasn't taking forever for them to process the 2848, but it wasn't like forever in a day like it was during COVID. For those of you that don't know, the 2848 is the tax power of attorney. So that is what I had to send in that gave me permission to talk about my client's case on the phone with the IRS, to receive their mail, for me to do anything really to help them. All right. Without them present, because before the folks that do resolution work that aren't licensed hop on here. Yes, you can fill out paperwork. Yes, you can talk to the IRS on three-way with your client. But anyway, to be able to talk to the IRS on your own, you need to have a 2848 power of attorney. So I'd already faxed this to the CAF unit, thought it was processed. So when I got on the phone with the IRS, I was not prepared to send the 2848 to them. Pro tip here. If you're an EA and you've never had to call yet, always have that 2848 ready to send just in case they can't find it on file, and always have whatever your eFax service is. So I'm going through giving her the client's information. So they typically ask for the social security number. They ask for how the name is, on the last tax return. So I'm giving all that information. They ask for my CAF number, and we're just going through verifying everything. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is one of my first calls. Everything is going smoothly. She says, okay, I can't find you in the system. Can you fax that over to me? And I could have. It was not a big deal at all. I had it on my computer, but I just didn't have it up. So I kind of like got stuck, and I was like, and she was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. If you don't have a 2848 on file and you can't fax it to me, then we're done here. And she just hung up on me. So was it a huge mistake? No. Did it cost me about 2 hours of my day because I had to wait on hold, then verify all of that, and then I didn't have it ready to fax? Yes. Is it a mistake that I never make anymore? Yes. So that's one I can laugh at. These two mistakes I'm going to be talking about today aren't really a laughing matter. And the reason I say that is because these can mess with your money. And you don't want to do anything that can mess with your money. Now, don't get me wrong. Time is definitely money. I'm sorry I wasted that time. But at the end of the day. And now I can laugh and I can say, hey, you know what? When you get on the phone with the IRS, make sure you have this information ready. I didn't lose a client because of it, all right, or a case. So Miss Dorothy says, I called them. I didn't have my mailbox ID. Oh, man. So my mailbox ID, I'm not going to tell Al Gore's internet what it is, but it's super simple because one time when somebody asked me for that, I didn't realize they were asking for my SOR. So what I did, because I didn't know that, different phone call. The IRS agent was very patient, was like, okay, this is what the SOR is. This is where we securely deliver. And I was like, oh, I know what that is. And I was able to give it to her. So hey, I've been there before too. So Miss Rolanda is on. She says, hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Rolanda. Thank you for joining us on today. Let me see over here. My people on LinkedIn are being quiet. So I see there are several of you all over here on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, make sure you guys are dropping down the comments saying, hey, if you're an EA, let me know what mistake you've made. Um, Something that you can laugh at. No pressure. We're not here to make fun of you. This is just open discussion, right? And if you're not an EA yet and you're on the Facebook Live or you're on the LinkedIn Live, share with us what your biggest fear is once you pass the EA exam, right? Because everybody's scared of something. Like before I actually passed the exam, before my first phone call, sometimes it even creeps in now and I have to go deal with my mindset. I'm like, am I going to know what to say? And I have to go back and be like, Timlin, you know how many years you've been doing this? Of course you're going to know what to say. And if you don't know the exact words to say, you know what question to ask so that you'll know what to say. So there are times too as well, even me, America's favorite EA, I have to be like, am I going to be able to handle this right? And you, again, you have to surround yourself with people that are going to be in your corner, have integrity, like, yeah, I know what to say. And if I don't, I know where to go get the answer. So we have a celebrity in the building. We got George Dandridge, EA in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So what's poppin' pimpin'? How are you doing, George? Thanks for joining. So since me and Miss Dorothy are the only people that have ever made mistakes as an EA, and we already shared ours, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the one of two mistakes that every EA makes after they pass the EA exam. All right. So if this is you, feel free to say ouch. If it's not you, share it with somebody you know that's an EA, because if they're making this mistake, they need to stop. All right. So the first mistake we're going to talk about is we have the EA that goes all in, they're studying, they pass the exam, and then they continue to go all in without any further education. They're telling everybody that they know what they're doing, and they have no community, no further education, and then they go out and make a mess. Now, like I said in the description, you are going to make plenty of mistakes in your journey as an EA, right? We have plenty of time for that. However, thinking that once you pass the EA exam, you've made it and you know it all is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. Because guess what? It's not a requirement that we take continuing education for no reason, just for the fun of it, right? There's a reason we have to take continuing education because the tax law is going to continually change and evolve. And as taxpayers, we have to stay on top of that, especially as enrolled agents, because as an enrolled agent, we have the highest credential awarded by the IRS. So that means the IRS, as well as taxpayers that are aware of our credential, are expecting for us to be on top of our stuff. So if you as a new EA are bulldozing out here, you only pass the exam, friend, I love you, but you don't know what you're doing. And when I say it in love and with kindness, okay? Because think about it. Just because you passed the written part or the driving part for the driver's exam and you got your license, does that really not mean you know how to drive? Let's look at you all that are parents. When your child turns 16, just because they got that license, did that mean they knew how to drive? Now, they went out with every intention. Me, when I got my license, went out with every intention. I passed this written part, I passed this driving part, I know how to drive. But how far from the truth is that, right? It's so far from the truth because, yes, you have to get out there and practice, but George actually hit the nail on the head. In driving and with being an EA, you have to have a good community, right? Because as I was driving, there were those neighbors, those church members and things that let my parents know, let me know, like, hey, someone's out here messing up with the driving. She got that freedom with the license, but it's looking a little shaky on the road. Same thing when you become that new EA. You've passed the exam. Go out, by all means, go out and tell everybody that you now have this license, but don't think you've made it. You need to make sure that you have people in your community that are going to keep you accountable, that are making sure that you are actually keeping up with your continued education. You need to make sure that you are taking classes that are relevant to representation if that's the type of work you want to do. There is nothing more infuriating to me. And some may call me judgmental here. If so, just call me judgmental. There's nothing more infuriating to me than seeing people who've passed the EA exam but bring the quality and reputation of that down because they do not do continuing education or they do the bare minimum to meet the requirement, but none of it's relevant. They go out to all these free sites and they take all the free CE that, which by the way, if there's CE that's free, typically is going to lead to a sales funnel, which is fine. But because it's going in a sales funnel, it has very surface information. You cannot tell me that from a free webinar, you truly know how to remove a tax lien. No, it doesn't work that way. But when you have that community, and like George said, he had the best community. I had to go find my community. You probably, if you just passed the EA exam, need to go find yours. Those people will let you know, like, hey, you need to know how to remove a tax levy. I took course ABC with XYZ company, right? I had this mentor that walked me through it. Hey, if you need help, I can help you with that. Their tax representation is not one of those YouTube University DIY. I'm sorry, it's not. Like you can get the license, you learn as you go, but in the process of learning when you go, we're here to represent taxpayers and make their situation better. You want to make sure that you're not making it worse. And I can almost guarantee you if you're going about this thing bullheaded, no continuing education, because even the stuff for representation, we've had rules change, things been laxed. There are certain things that you can do on the phone now that you used to not be able to do on the phone. We can set up agreements online. All all the things changing all the time, right? If you're not keeping up with that continuing education, you're out of the loop. If you don't have that community of support to be like, hey, I got the clients in here. I don't know how to handle them. I don't know how to handle the IRS. I need help. You are not only going to fail yourself, you're going to fail that client and taxpayer. And they're going to be out here thinking that all EAs are a scam because none of us know what we're doing. And as I mentioned in the other videos, in this tax game, the only thing you truly have is your reputation and your name. So again, go out, bulldoze the world. Let them know that you have that license. But make sure that you are staying educated, you have that community so you can actually help the taxpayer make the situation better, help them resolve it, all right, and not make it worse. So today y'all are in here with me in the comments, so I'm going to check these out really quick. LinkedIn, you guys are usually the ones with me, 30, 40 comments. I see you over there, but you're still not giving me any comments. So if you're on LinkedIn, let me know. Say hey so I know you're here. So Karina says, so spot on. Finished my exam and I realized just how much I did not know and still working on it. Hey, we've all been there, right? Because just think about it. Like I said, when you get that driver's license, you think you can handle anything on the road, right? Or even when you graduate high school or graduate from college, that degree does not mean you know everything. Now, maybe it means you should have critical thinking skills and sometimes some common sense, but that doesn't always mean that either. But I won't go down that road. But yes, Karina, definitely spot on. Once you finish that exam, you realize just how much you do not know. And as you said, you're still working on it. But here's the thing that I know about you, and I hope that you don't mind me sharing. I know this summer you went out and found community so that you were able to make sure that you knew how to do certain processes so you could better serve clients. Now, with that being said, I hope that you're not making mistake number two that I'm getting ready to talk about. So Rolanda says mistake, trying to do too much instead of focusing on one thing. Listen, Rolanda, that's a word that could be interpreted for quite a few things. So, Rolanda, when you say trying to do too much instead of focusing on the one thing, are you talking about trying to offer too many services at one time? Or are you talking about what are you saying? Like you didn't pick a niche? Because that trying to do too much that could speak to a lot. So George has all the jokes today. He says, make sure you can call Timalyn S. Bowens, which, by the way, podcast, I tell folks, I got this free information on YouTube, Facebook, my blog. But if you actually get to talk to me on the phone, that's not going to be free. I am going to share with you all a way that you can contact me for case support. So, Rolanda, with trying to do too much, you said it was representation, tax planning, etc. I feel you on that. There are people in here though that seem to be able to do that successfully. I am not one of them. Um, so, and maybe it's just because I haven't built my practice to that size. I decided, and everybody else tap in if you want to. I decided I wanted to focus on representation. All right. So with that, I was still taking tax prep clients, but I do have high net worth clients. I do have high wage earning clients. They needed tax planning. And I was like, if I don't offer tax planning for these tax prep clients that I like, they are going to end up paying too much in taxes. Now, can they afford those taxes? Yes. But who in the world wants to pay more taxes than they have to, right? So for me, I was like, I have to get rid of, and not in a bad way, because I enjoyed the majority of these people I worked with. But I was like, I have to get rid of these because for me, if I'm going to focus on tax representation, I want to be the best in the tax representation world. So I had to make sure that if I was doing that, or I had to acknowledge if I was doing that, I couldn't be focused on that and all of the latest tax planning strategies and all the things. Right. So I definitely agree with you on that. But I know folks like I know George does tax planning and representation. Of course, I can't see everybody that's on here and LinkedIn, but most definitely, I 100% agree with you on that. That was too much for me too. So, as soon as I pulled this up, it left me. So I'm going to say, well, look, I promise you the next live, I'm going to say your last name and I'm going to say it correctly because you gave me an amazing tutorial. So Abul says, my big mistake was I didn't connect with you, America's favorite EA. So y'all know my hearts that I was trying to make, they were bad. But I appreciate the love. Thank you. Camilla, Mia Franklin says, I agree. So I'm assuming that's talking about, the mistake of bulldozing, not having that continuing education. And then George, I see your comment. I'm not about to share it yet because you're all up in my sermon notes. But I'm going to get to that. So just very quick recap. That number one mistake is bulldozing out there, not understanding the updated tax laws, not understanding how you can actually help your client, thinking that that EA license means that you've made it and you can do it all. It gives you the right to do it all, but you need to make sure that you're staying educated so you actually can help the client and not be a disservice to them. One thing I need to let you all know, and this can be very frustrating, okay? Some of the people, EA, not EA, with the biggest followings on social media, know squat diddly about the tax law. And look, you can't see me, I'm 10 toes down on that. And as you are doing your continuing education, this is what I want to encourage you. You will see people post stuff and like it just circulates to get so much traffic, and you know what they're posting is wrong, or it's just the soundbite is just enough to get people to share it and comment and do all those things, but it's not correct. Please don't fall and give in to just giving people sound bites of information, just the clips they want to hear, or misinterpreting things for a following. Because one, does a social media following, a big one, does that automatically turn into money? No. Now, can we monetize things like YouTube, Facebook, all that? Of course. We got stars here, we got super chats and stuff on YouTube. But why would you want to build your own case for misleading people about tax law and having all the proof on the internet, right? Which, by the way, talking about monetization, thank you all so much. Last week, there were some comments that came in. They were showing up blank, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. Last week, you all put some money in the offering plate and sent me some stars. I appreciate it. If I would have realized that was what was going on during the time of the live, I would have acknowledged that and said thank you, but I just didn't know. So I appreciate that very, very much. George, 100% agree. Missing information is worse than misinformation. Guys, please don't fall down that rabbit trail just in an attempt to get more followers and more clicks and more views and things. Now, if you want to do something like, and I did this at one time, like a Mythbuster series, by all means, go ahead. But you will, in this journey, especially while on social media, see fellow tax professionals and fellow EAs, even, unfortunately, share content that has missing information. And as George says, that is worse than misinformation because you're leaving it up to the taxpayer to find out what's actually the truth while you led them right to what's not the truth. All right. And I always tell folks, I'm not going to judge your tax competency, right? And think that you can figure it out on your own. However, if I'm going to figure it out for you, then yes, that is going to be a paid consultation. But 100% missing information is worse than misinformation. So let's go ahead and get to mistake number two. All right. I'm looking over here at LinkedIn and there is a crazy lag. So I'm going to stop looking over there. The reason I keep looking though is because I have just as many people on LinkedIn right now as I do on Facebook. But my LinkedIn people, like, are we beefing? Can you guys please, can you drop a comment down for America's Favorite EA? Say hey, just say hi, I'm busy, something. So I know you're actually listening to me. So let's get to mistake number two. And Karina, like I said, now you said I was spot on before. I hope you are not making this second mistake. So, those first people, they bulldoze out. They think the license means they can do whatever they want, no more continuing education. But then you can tell I'm about to really start preaching, right? We have the people that go all in studying. They take every CE course, every CE course, but then they get stuck in analysis paralysis. They don't look to help anybody because they don't think that they know enough. All right. So, mistake one was going out there thinking that you could do it all. Mistake two is you taking every class under the sun. You're out here with ASTPS, which don't get me wrong, or did I say it right? American Tax Problem Solvers. ATPS. They have amazing CE, they have an amazing program. I'm part of their program. I like their webinars, their classes and things. But I know people that take all of their stuff, they go to NAEA, another good organization, National Association of Enrolled Agents. They become an NTPI fellow. So they got all this information from NAEA. They got all this information. They got all this information from NAEA. They got all this information from ATPS. They go and take this person's marketing program to get clients. They go take this person's program to learn case management, but they never make an offer. They never reach out to help taxpayers. You all, 1 in 50 taxpayers has a problem with the IRS. So there are more than enough taxpayers for all of us to get work. All right. But these people that make the second mistake, they see them all around and they never extend their hand to help because they're like, oh no, I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. I can't do it. I've taken these 72 hours of CE this year, but surely I can't help. I preached education. I preached the mentorship. So, I have nothing wrong with the programs. I have nothing wrong with you taking those CE classes. But what are you taking them for if you're not going to help anybody? George says, don't judge me. I was there once. That's why I was laughing. Look, and in the description, I told you all that all EAs make one of the two mistakes. So, usually not both because they're both extremes, right? But even me, so I would say I did a hybrid. All right. So, what happened? I didn't choose tax representation. Tax representation chose me. All right. No joke. So, what happened is I was helping a taxpayer. No, you know what? It happened way back when I was an intern at Crow Horwath, when I was all of like 21 years old. All right. So, very, very short version of the story. Lady in parking lot crying. Twin turn goes over to check on her. I'm like, why are you checking on this lady? Lady owes IRS taxes. We don't have uniforms. Dress was business casual. Key cards in my pocket. She had no idea where we worked. All right. She's crying. She has a tax problem. It was 500, 1,500. It was like, what in the world? Like, just call and make an arrangement. But as I left, I realized, okay, how many of my family members don't know that? Like, how many of my family members would be up the creek if they owed 1,500, 15,000, right? So that's when I began to take interest in it. But then after I opened my own practice, I had clients that would come with back tax issues. And guess what? I'm going to keep saying this. You cannot represent clients if you don't have a license. I don't care if it's an EA license, I don't care if it's a CPA license, or you can be a tax attorney. If you don't have those three, you cannot represent clients. Stop hanging out with these folks telling you you can represent clients without. You can't. Now, if you want to take it back 80s, 90s and get on a three-way call with your client and the IRS, by all means. But why are you wasting your client's time on a three-way? They got to sit on hold with you. That's a disservice to them. Can you still do the paperwork? Absolutely, you can. But can you present it yourself without the client ever having to get on the phone? Absolutely not. So, what are you afraid of? Take the exam so you can step into your full power in advocating for the client and representing them. Like, what? That's not even in my notes. Let me get off my soapbox. All right. Let let me get off my soapbox. So for me, again, tax representation chose me. As I began to get clients, I had people with back taxes like, yo, my wife's about to leave me. I'm sleeping on the couch. And I was like, I can do the paperwork for you, but I can't call the IRS. Now, this client was so desperate, they did not care. They were like, hey, you do the paperwork. I can call, like, it's whatever. And I felt so bad because I could not fully represent this client. I was like, I need to go take that exam yesterday because I just did him a major disservice. He's facing potentially a divorce, all kinds of financial stress, and I could have taken a piece of that off of his shoulders. But instead, because I was taking my sweet time getting credentialed, I couldn't do that for him. Right. And same thing, if you're on here like, man, I don't need to take the exam, I can still do the paperwork. Yes, you can do the paperwork. Yes, that alleviates them a little bit. Take the full burden away from them and handle it. Look, I said I was getting off my soapbox and I stuck it right back out there and got on it. Let me go check out these comments, all right? So Joseph Bowens says, hey, 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 hey. Carmen Fagan says, get out of my driveway. That was definitely me at first. Girl, well, look, it's not just you. Like, you're sharing. I appreciate you sharing, but it's true. Like, you have these folks out here, going viral. And I'm not gonna call anybody out. Look, I'm in a mood today, right? I'm not gonna call anybody out, but they go out here and they post all this stuff that goes viral that's absolutely false. All right. I don't care what your brand is. Your haircut is not tax deductible. But oh, in their EA, they're credentialed by the IRS, like, woo, that must be true, right? So now I'm out here representing somebody that's tried to write off thousands of dollars worth of haircuts because this other EA gave them this misinformation because my fellow EA doesn't know how to read the tax code, got this person in trouble, and I got to come clean it up because you went out here and bulldozed. And you can't tell me that nobody in your community told you that was incorrect. Here we go again. That's why community is important. That's why having people that have integrity in your community is important, and people that understand your goals and can help push you toward them is so important. Because people that don't have any integrity, that are just out here for the social media popularity, people that are just out here to make money, they're not going to care about where they lead taxpayers, right? As long as they're getting paid. But when you have those people that think like you think in terms of integrity, actually helping people, like I said, my big why and goal is impact, how many lives I can impact. Now, don't get me wrong. Now I do have an income number attached to that. But at the end of the day, even if I did not get paid for it, I would still do this. Now, you guys are probably thinking, like, what in the world? What? There's a way you can pay me to help you. I'll share that later. And for taxpayers too. But it is so true and sincere when I tell you all my mission is to fill the tax literacy gap. I don't care if I don't get nothing but one like, and that's my husband. I'm going to keep going because I know off of social media, I'm impacting people's lives. I'm helping them buy houses. I'm helping them keep their marriages together. I'm going to keep going. All right. So I've surrounded myself with that community. Listen, George, if I'm on a roll, because I've been reading some stuff, George says don't call anybody out. That's my job. In case you all don't know, George is King Petty, by the way. But like, it's frustrating to get something that I can't even think of the name of it right now, but where I have to go in and maybe it's a correspondence audit or maybe the IRS has refigured something. And I look at this deduction that the client tried to claim and I'm like, you know what? I see this swirling around the internet. They probably were not being malicious, and they just went with it. But then I see the tax preparer that signed the return and I see EA, and that's infuriating. Like, you knew better. But then I realize that they're in that first group of EAs that make that mistake, and they just go right out, get the content out, get the followers, get the likes, and they don't truly care about the taxpayer, that who we in the end are going to have to represent and get out of trouble. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Hey Larry, thanks for joining us today. He said he calls George Petty Wop. Larry, I do not know how long you have been online, but I do want to share that you were actually one of the people that gave stars last week. Thank you so much. Last week, they came up blank in my feed, so I didn't actually know what was going on. Had I known that you had given me stars, I most definitely would have acknowledged that. I just want to say I appreciate that. So, Carmen, I'm out of your driveway. Well, no, I'm still there. I'll get out a little bit later. But Karina says, so good. No, ma'am, I am more eager, Beaver, and getting muddy over here. I took on cases I did for free and now finally getting paid. I'm a hot mess. Not for free, though. For free? You know what? I'm not even going to say anything, because I will tell you this. Now, if you did it for free because you say God led you to do that, I have gotten flack because there were people who truly did. Like, I was like, sir, what? God, I went to college, paid for this continuing education. I'm not doing this for free. But when I did, what I reaped from that was greater than what they could have paid me anyway. Because when you follow that kind of leading, it always is going to be a bigger blessing to you. Now, if you didn't get that unction and you were just scared to charge, ma'am, you need to be out here charging for your time and expertise. Because, like I said, I know you invested this summer into continuing education, courses, and mentorship. So I think they got some modules on pricing over there too. But I'm glad to hear that you become eager beaver and you're getting muddy. And like I said earlier, like, you have plenty of time to make mistakes along your EA career, but just don't make one of these two, right? And if you've already made them, it's cool, but get back on the right track, right? Let me check these comments. It's true though. I didn't choose tax representation. Tax representation chose me. Um, the first firm I worked at, the only firm I worked at outside of my own, it is, I think they're still ranked number 10 internationally, not nationally, internationally. So it's a pretty big size firm. I thought when I went in that I was going to specialize in tax planning, in like tax planning with S corps and partnerships. But yeah, life had other plans, God had other plans, and like, yeah, that is not what I do. I don't even think, I'm pretty sure they don't even do representation, so that would not have worked out anyway. But yeah, I didn't choose tax representation. Tax representation chose me. So you all, my birthday's coming up next month. If you all want to get me a shirt that says I didn't choose tax representation chose me, um, I'll wear it. I'll shout you out. So Camilla says, I think you were talking about me too with the class overkill, but I do reach out to clients. All right. It is easy to feel like you will never be ready, right? So for those of you that have joined later, earlier I mentioned when a person gets their driver's license, just because they have that license does not mean that they can drive. But the only way for you to get better at driving is practicing, right? The only way for you to become a better EA, yes, you do need continuing education, but that's not all. You need hands on experience. The only way for you to get better is to actually do the work. The only way for you to know how to do the work is taking those classes. Now, some of the best classes that I've taken with some of the best mentors that are out there, they weren't even CE eligible, but you learn how to do the work from those that are ahead of you, whether that is a CE course or that is a mentorship program, but then you have to actually do the work. So we're not going to bulldoze out there, mess up these taxpayers, don't know a lick of tax law, right? But then at the same time, we're not going to learn everything there is under the sun and never actually help the client, because both of those are a major disservice to them. So Karina said Karina says yes, George Dandridge. So yeah, if y'all are connected to George, you definitely know he is King Petty, as Larry said. Uh Petty Wop. But here's the thing, George ain't about to connect with just everybody. So if you not about your business, don't be sending him no friend requests, because he's not about that life. So, Christina, thank you for joining me today. Christina says, you're preaching today. Some of this is me now, lots of classes and not really out there doing it yet. Well, hey, this is an open forum. This is to motivate you to get out there and get to doing it, right? But thank you, thank you. I should have brought my preacher towel, wipe my sweat. And the offering plate is available. So if y'all want to shoot your girl some stars, cash at me some lunch money. That's all good too. So Larry says, just sharing the love, great content. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I don't know. Let me look on my phone, because I do have a blank comment here. Let's see. Because I think I just got some stars. But look, don't start me lying. Oh, there are more of y'all on here than it says on there. Thank y'all for getting on with your girl and hanging on. All right, I'm being really old right now. Um, Christina or Christine, I'm sorry, not Christina. On my end, I think you just sent me some stars. Thank you for the stars. I appreciate that. Like I said, every little bit counts. I know it can be infuriating when you see those people out there putting all the misinformation out and they're getting the stars, they're getting the followers. So thank you, you all. You said I'm preaching today. I appreciate you putting your money where your mouth is on that. Now, for those of you that said, hey, this is me, usually birds of the same feather flock together. So if you know somebody else that's a new EA or a newish EA, so I will still give you within the first 5 years, share this with them too. Because here's the thing, when we are facing a fear, something like going out and getting clients or speaking with the IRS, people typically aren't going to be on the internet like, hey, that's me. I'm credentialed through the IRS, but I'm definitely scared to talk to them, right? Just like people with tax problems, they're not going to be like, yo, I owe the IRS $250,000. Can somebody help? That's not how it happens. We have to share, hey, I'm an enrolled agent. I can help with these tax problems. And you all know what? Guaranteed, when I make those posts, I may, again, it may be my husband that likes it. However, I'm getting DMs and I'm getting emails about the post I made. People are going to Google and sending an inquiry. So even though it may feel like it's not sticking yet, keep posting the content. Tell people what you do, what you can do. But you just make sure that while you're doing that, you're staying educated, you're staying up to date with the different tax laws. All right. So Karina says, nope, I just wanted to get out there. Yes, I was scared to charge, but now I do charge. Congratulations. I am very happy to hear that. George, oh my good. So let me tell you all something else about George. So George is very petty. All right. But with that being said, there are certain things that you can be petty about. Because sometimes I think it's petty in love, and other times I think he's infuriated the same way I mentioned being infuriated. Especially when I see EAs sharing crap content. Okay. George does an insane amount of CE each year, well beyond the required minimum. So, for those of you that don't know, CE is our continuing education. Once you pass the enrolled agent exam, uh, or SEE, the special enrollment exam, to become an EA, there's a certain amount of CE that you have to get done every year. I think it's every 3 years, but a certain amount has to be done every year. George is never going to have to worry about not passing that minimum. But here's the thing: George takes all of his continuing education, but then he also shares his knowledge. I can't think of what his show is called, but he shares it in his content. He shares it on his live streams, and I'm positive that he uses it to do the work for his clients. So when George is petty about these other tax professionals not educating themselves, George has every right to do that because he's putting his money where his mouth is. All right, guys, it doesn't like, again, you need to take continuing education. There's, even if you do the minimum, there's no way that you can keep up with all the changes just because the tax law is changing so much. So while he's being funny on a very serious note, I'm not saying try to get 250 like George every year. Because he's saying that jokingly, but I know he gets at least close to like 100 because they make me pass out every time they mention how much CE they're doing. But it's that important. But again, I know George isn't getting stuck with just taking the CE. He's actually doing the work and helping his clients just because we have other conversations. Because guess what? You want to go find your community, like your tight knit folks. And I talked about this in a different video, so I'm not going to rehash it. Your community, though, I'm not going to rehash it in full. Your community needs to be people with integrity. I talked about income goals. You share your income goals with people in the tight knit community. Share your impact goals. So you have to make sure it's not just about the money. You have to have a why, stand on that because these people will make you sick. The taxpayers and the revenue officers and agents, like dealing with those people, their high stress income and all of that. There are some people that are very grateful and appreciative, and then there are some people that are very entitled, will make you hate what you do if you let them. So you have to grab hold to your why, stick with that so you can keep going forward. And I said all that to say the reason I can tell you these things about George is because George is in one of the communities I'm in. So I'm in multiple communities. I have mentors, and you meet people along the way that are going to push you and keep you going. Even if I didn't have multiple people on this live, if I didn't have the people on LinkedIn that are still there and not talking to me, George is in my community, Larry's in my community, like they would be here to encourage me to keep going. And those are the kind of people that you want in your circle, right? So, Bull says, advance happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. So, my birthday is on September 18th. So let me see. Larry says, but you're putting in the work. Thank you so much. Not tax professional, not just an internet friend, but my BG friend in real life says, good job, BG. Go and collect this offering. So, very quick backstory in case you just don't know this. So, I am a PK. If you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. Um, I'm a PK. Both my parents are PKs, and one of my grandfathers was actually a bishop. So, my fellow BG here, Michelle, is also a bishop's grandchild. So, little insider there. Christine says, I did. I appreciate you. Hey, I thank you, ma'am. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate that. Dorothy, I didn't realize that. Well, congratulations on becoming a new EA. You are still fresh out the womb, 2 months in. So, congratulations to you on becoming a new EA in June. Content is king, absolutely. Bull, I'm getting ready to truly represent my cryptocurrency tax clients. It's my niche. Hey, go after it. Because listen, I believe in a niche. I can help you with tax representation, but part of that, when we get done fixing the problem, oh, I'm sorry, Dorothy. So Dorothy's actually been an EA since June of 2022. I was thinking you said you just passed June 22nd. Sorry about that. But boy, what I was saying, I believe in Nation Down, right? I can help anybody who's willing to put in the work with their tax problem. All right. May not be the outcome they want, but I can help you do something that is going to satisfy the IRS and not bankrupt you. However, when it comes to compliance for certain industries, I'm out. Cryptocurrency, listen, you go out there, you do your thing, you show that you're the expert in that. I have a couple of other people that I refer cryptocurrency because I don't want any parts of that. Remember earlier, Rolanda was talking about focus on too many things. I don't want to learn about cryptocurrency. So that is a perfect niche for you to go into. 100%. I support you in that. Elizabeth, I have another blank message. So I'm just going to assume that is stars. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for the stars. Mayura says, "Hi, Timalyn. You were doing a great job. I appreciate it. Thank you for talking to me over on LinkedIn because today my LinkedIn family is just being some lurkers. But let me go back up here. Let's use a bull. All right. So he said, advance happy birthday. So, as I mentioned earlier, my birthday is September 18th, which is a Monday. And I don't think I have looked forward to a birthday like this since I turned 21. So it's been a little minute. But the reason I'm looking forward to this so much, so today we talked about these two mistakes, one of two that every EA makes. And some of you all were like, ouch, you're hitting me. I heard I was in the driveway. Check this out. On September 18th, I'm launching a new community. And like I say on the podcast, I have the free content on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. But if you talk to me, it's not going to be free. So this is the same way because you are going to have access to me. So this new community is going to be the Tax Pros representation journey, right? So it is a private and, might I add, exclusive podcast, which I know I'm a writer. They can mean the same thing. But it's private, and I should say private and elite podcast and article subscription. So I know some of you, because you've sent me DMs, some pretty in depth, detailed DMs requesting help. Um, if you would like insight from me every week in your ear, in your inbox, for things surrounding getting clients, keeping your mindset right. Because remember, I told you I even have to deal with my mindset because sometimes I get on the phone, I get ready to get on the phone with the IRS, and I'm like, am I going to know what to say? Am I going to know how to handle this? Like, I haven't done this before. And I have to go back and remind myself who I am and that I can do it. Like, I took all the CE courses. I have a community. If I'm on this call, there are people I can reach out to. I can reach out to my mentor. Um, one of my mentors, I have people that I go to for case support. So I can do this. So, within this private and elite subscription, each week you are going to get a private podcast from me on Monday morning that is going to deal with things such as getting the client, the mindset, client management, pricing, no free work. The only thing I wouldn't argue about with free work is if you told me God told you to do it for free, right? Then each Wednesday, you're going to also have an article. Now, you all see me, I write on different platforms, I post the articles. These articles and this podcast will not be found anywhere else. Each month, you will also get a case study. So I will break it down in both ways because I know some people are more visual, some people can hear it. So you will actually get to see and hear about different cases that I am either working on or have completed. So I'll walk you through the currently not collectible case, right? I'll walk you through how to do currently not collectible for a payroll tax case. So you will get that, but also, this is what makes us elite here. You're going to have access to ask me for case support and a community within the application where the podcast and articles are going to be. So it's not going to be on Facebook, so you don't have to spend any extra time here. It's not going to be on LinkedIn, anything like that. So when you actually sign up, you have access. It'll be called a group. You can comment on all the articles. I can see what you're putting. You can comment on different podcasts, but then you can just leave different comments and questions as well. Now, I will tell you this. Am I going to be on there 24/7? Absolutely not. Am I going to be on there every day with the exception of vacations and things? Yes, because I know how important having a community was for me in my journey, how important it is right now, and having somebody that was a little bit further ahead of me to help me to be able to pull me up to where I was going and even where I'm going right now. So, comment setting may not be on LinkedIn. Gotcha. On LinkedIn, they're usually blowing me up. So, George, I promise y'all I'm not famous, but George, this is what I'm talking about. You got community, you got people to gas you up, keep you going. So George asked, do we get an autograph pic? Um, I don't know, maybe we can do autograph pics. But also continuing education, community, and sharing where different people will be speaking, what different conferences they will be attending. Who knows? Within the community, you might be like, hey, what is the next tax conference that you and that famous guy George are speaking at? And I'll be like, oh, we're speaking at XYZ in this month of 2024. So if you are interested in that at all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the link here on Facebook. For whatever reason, when I share this in here, it doesn't also go to LinkedIn. So I'll have to share it separately on LinkedIn. But if you have any questions about that as well, feel free to reach out and ask. I don't think that I have any other questions or comments. I always say I'm going to only be on here a few minutes unless you all have questions, even though I blocked out the hour and you all took me to the full hour today. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to love you and leave you and hop off of here. But I will see you next Tuesday. And like I said, if you have any questions at all about the subscription, feel free to reach out and let me know. You all have a fantabulous Tuesday.